Everyone, this is our cosplay roundtable panel. We're waiting on one more person. Here she comes.
Everybody, please welcome Azzyland to the stage.
Hi, guys. Sorry.
So this is going to be the cosplay panel. We're just going to talk about costume design. We're going to put a mic in the middle of the aisle here. So if anybody has questions, you can come line up and ask us whatever you want to ask us. Well, not anything. PG stuff. And anything about cosplay. So I am Karli Woods. I'm a cosplayer. I'm from Toronto. I've been cosplaying for about 4 years, and I do this full time. I run my YouTube show, which is called Geek and Gorgeous, and we do makeup tutorials, segments on cosplay, behind the scenes at photo shoots, comic conventions, interviews with every single celebrity you could see at a convention, and yeah, so that is what I do. And who do we have over here?
Hi, I'm Alexia Jean Grey. I've been cosplaying for about 6 years now, and my little claim to fame, I guess, is I work with Marvel and promote a lot of their games in costume, so I travel around doing that most of the time.
And I'm Azzy, or I go by Azzyland. I'm a video game streamer. I have a YouTube channel and Instagram, Facebook at Azzyland. I make all my own cosplays, and you.
I'm Kannon Cosplay. I've been cosplaying since 2003, so for a long time now. I also make replica props. I'm a replica prop artist, and primarily I'm a craftsmanship judge, and I still do competitions till today.
Well, I guess since we're talking a little bit about the design aspect of the costumes, let's maybe talk about how we did the costumes that we're wearing. Start with that? Yeah? Okay, I'll go first. So this is my R2D2, but I call it R222. It's one of it's one of the Tutu series, or one of the costumes in my Tutu series. I have the TARDIS, Darth Vader, R2, Harley Quinn, Edward Scissorhands, and I am also doing C-3PO. So there's going to be lots in the collection. It is 26 yards of tulle, and it's very heavy, and my house looked like a giant cloud exploded when I was sewing it. Took about 16 hours in total. The longest part was probably painting the corset, just because the paint, or the corset fabric just ate the paint, and it took a lot of coats of the paint to get it on. But yeah, now I can do the skirts in about an hour and a half.
Well, my costume, it's Asame from Legend of Korra. Unfortunately, mine is very simple compared to these ladies, but I do have my glove, which I'm very proud of. It was my first 3D printing project ever. It was a lot of time. I had a lot of help with it because I'm computer illiterate. But that's really my favorite thing is I did 3D printing on this and just painted it, but I love it.
I'm going to talk about my cosplay I was wearing the other day. I was way too uncomfortable and couldn't wear it for a third day. I mostly work with Warbler and EVA foam. So I like doing armored cosplays. It's kind of what I'm more comfortable with. Yeah.
So this is what I consider like a hallway cosplay. So it's pretty like simplistic. A lot of it is bought and maybe altered. Besides like my armor shoulder pads are just made with EVA foam. The exercise mats you might see. People usually make like Halo cosplays out of them and stuff like that.
Does anyone have any questions before we go further? Don't be shy. Yes, in the back with the stripes. Yeah, there's a mic over here. Do you want to come talk in the mic? Hey. We match. You have a white tutu as well.
So all your time together, how much time did you use to make it in all together? Like all your costumes in one time?
Who's good at math? Mine was 16 hours.
Mine was probably about 20, 25, somewhere around there, just for the glove.
For like an armored cosplay, it takes me about 2 weeks to 3 weeks, I'd say.
This one maybe took me like 10 hours.
I just popped that in an hour. That's pretty fast. Looks good. Yes.
ballpark range, how much do you girls end up spending on your cosplays?
That is a good question. This costume is about $300. Just because there's so much tulle, it's 26 yards, and if I am lucky, I can get a yard for $1.99, but sometimes it's $5.99, depending if you're what type of material you're using. But then I have the ribbon and the lace is always more expensive, and then the corset. But it's usually the tutus that are expensive. It's about $300 just in fabric.
Yeah, it all really depends. I'd say the cheapest costume I've ever made probably runs around $200. But my most expensive one, it was a full armor set. It was a battle version of Princess Peach. And that one went up to about $800-900. I think I was around there for my big armor.
Wow.
Depends on, again, like the armor. I use Warbler for a lot of my costumes. It's about like $90 a sheet, and I usually use up 2 sheets to make the armor. So, and plus all the other bits, so I'd say about like $200-300 at least.
Plus all of the wigs. Like
Yeah,
wigs
so
can
so maybe like $400.
Yeah, like adding in material costs, like it racks up real quick.
And then you need hooks and glue and paint and sandpaper.
Yeah, I think because like you always need like a new pair of shoes and a wig. My cheapest one is probably $50. My most expensive one's probably $1,500. So
Now, this is my first experience with Comic-Con, so I'm just, asking questions. Do you guys in any way make any money back? Do you have YouTube channels? I mean, what do you do to be able to compensate, or is this just a hobby?
This is what I do full time. So you do make money off of your YouTube videos. I have an online store, so you can sell merchandise. You can sell commissioned costumes, so you can buy costumes. I don't do that personally, but I know a lot of cosplayers do commission. And then you have T-shirts, your photos, posters, magnets, mugs, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes you get an appearance fee to host different shows. And then I always like to say that cosplay is, it's not a forever thing. It's kind of like a gateway into so many other things. So I have picked up multiple hosting jobs. I used to host with The Walking Dead. They had an online show. I was on the book cover of The Walking Dead, so I got paid to be the model on the book cover, which was also amazing because I'm a huge fan of the show and the comics.
Likewise.
So there's like little things that you pick up. I just kind of say that you're an entertainer. So
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much echoing just what you said. I know for me, I do a lot of like sponsorships with different companies. Like I said with Marvel, like they pay me to come out there and work for them. So that's mainly what I do for monies.
Same thing what they said. I also do YouTube, so yeah.
I think for everybody it's different. Some people still mostly do it as a hobby. I don't think there's like a lot of people that make money off of just being a cosplayer. It's usually like you're a cosplayer and something else. So most of my money comes from, I run a replica prop business. And then cosplay does bring in some money, but it's not really enough to really live off of. So I mostly run that business, and that's where my money comes from.
Okay, and final question, I promise. All my children are interested in YouTube. Like, they're all YouTubing. One of my kids, like, my eldest is already even making some money on YouTube. What is your advice to them as young YouTubers to be able to become more famous and successful and be able to make it a career, sort of say?
YouTube, you need to set or put out videos on a weekly basis. It's just constant content. That is the best advice I can give you.
I agree with her. What I do is I always film extra videos so that you have like a backlog. So 1 week, like let's say you're sick or something happens, you always have something to post and you're always ahead of your schedule.
You can check out Azzyland and Geek and Gorgeous to see videos of us together.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.
Hi, how you doing? Quick question was.
Hello.
Hi. The quick question was.
Flash.
How do you guys choose like the following cosplays you want to do? Like, you have like a set lineup of what you guys want to do, or is it just
For
like-
each show?
Yeah.
I mean, with me, it depends on the show that you're going to. If you go to an anime show or a horror convention or a comic convention, you kind of bring what people want to see. Yeah, that's what I do. I try to recycle and use all my costumes.
I
As far as like maybe like picking out what to do, I always just pick off stuff that I really love and enjoy. That's the whole fun of cosplay, is being the character that you want to be and making what you would want to make. So that's generally just how I pick characters to make.
Same thing. I like doing things that I mostly try to do video game characters, not always, but after I play with a character for like 60 hours, I'm like, I love this character. I just want to bring it to life. So
I just usually take whatever's my newest costume, and after a while, when I get tired of looking at it, I retire it, and I don't wear it anymore.
oh, poor cosplay.
What was the first thing that you cosplay as, and do you think it was good as the one that you're wearing right now?
Definitely not as good because mine was a closet cosplay, which there's nothing wrong with that. And if you guys don't know what a closet cosplay is, try saying that 5 times fast. It is pieces that you had in your closet and you kind of just put it together and you have a costume. And mine was Black Canary from Arrow.
Mine was Kasumi from Dead or Alive, and definitely like you improve over time. That's just how you get better as a cosplayer. Just keep doing it and keep making costumes. And I actually redid my Kasumi like a year ago as like an auteur to the first costume I ever made, because I was like really proud of how far I have come from starting from day one.
I actually had 2 cosplays. I kind of did them simultaneously. One was a Black Cat, and the other one was Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. I definitely think I've improved. I've learned like so many more techniques, and they've become like more intricate. So I definitely don't think my cosplays are as good as were as good then.
I did Battle Angel, Alita, and it definitely was not as good. Awful. But, I mean, it's been like 13 years, so I definitely gotten a lot better.
Hi. This is a question
Hello.
for you. Hi. Just wondering, how is it that cosplay can be used to be performance-based? Something do any of you, or have you ever done any performance? And what inspiration would you give to somebody who wants to be a performer?
I'm going to go first. I am a terrible actor. I do not perform. People always ask me to like do skits or things with them, but I host things on TV. That is my skill, I guess, is hosting. So I don't do any performance or acting. I'm not into that stuff.
I mean, if you're looking like performance-wise to compete in like masquerades, like skit competitions, I would definitely just go back and watch regular theater productions, because that's gonna give you a better idea of like stage setting and music to audio lip syncing, because that's a big part of like not that. And then also just being super creative with your skit, like doing stuff that's crossovers that makes people laugh, give people emotions. That's really what it's gonna come down to be like a really good skit performer. But definitely look at regular theater productions, because that's where you're gonna get a good base on like how to perform well.
Pretty much what she said. I don't have anything else to add.
Sometimes I do a lot of performances on stage because I like to compete. Probably one of the biggest things I like to do is figure out like what mood I want to go with, like if I want to be serious or make people laugh or mix it all together. And just kind of have fun with it, and I just brainstorm different ideas with the character, and just try to have fun with it and have other people do it with you, and try not to take it too seriously. And I think the more fun you have, the more you'll just kind of naturally grow and keep being more comfortable on stage. And my first performance was definitely not as good as my more recent one, and I think as time, you'll kind of just get more comfortable doing it. And don't put too much pressure on yourself to, be, amazing right away, and it'll just kind of come to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
Good, you?
Not bad. Assuming you already have the look and have really good costumes and whatnot, what is the quickest route to getting, I guess, well known or getting your face out there to start, I guess, being monetized?
You have to really want to pursue that. You need to have a brand, and you need to promote yourself as that brand. And with cosplay, it's not just about. There's a lot of misconceptions with it, and a lot of people think that you're just a model wearing costumes, but there's a full-time job behind it. You're running your online store, you're setting up photo shoots, you're designing the costumes, you're making everything, you are budgeting for everything. You have to reach out to each convention and do contracts to get to the show. You do everything. So it is a lot, and definitely having a brand and having a lot of content to push out there is ideal and what you want to do to start. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, pretty much just echoing what she said. I think all of us agree. Just really knowing your brand and being on social media a lot. Of course, we're in that day of age where social media is the biggest thing in the world. So, and
Yeah.
also I just traveled a lot of cons, meet people, network with people, talk to them. It's the best way to just get started and especially make new friends.
You ladies are taking all the answers.
No, sorry.
Same thing what they said. Promote yourself on social media, different types of social media, and try to stay consistent. Posting like equal amount of times and figure out what times work best for you. I'd say like in the evenings after 6 works best for me, but whatever works for you.
I guess like my goal wasn't to like when I first started cosplaying, there wasn't really cosplay guests or anything. So you just kind of dress up and went to the shows. So it wasn't really my goal to try to initially be a guest or anything. I just consistently worked on my craft and competed, and just slowly over time from them seeing me, they started asking me to judge. And then, I got tables on my own because I sold stuff, and I just kind of got noticed by conventions, getting tables and stuff and just buying them and doing that. And sometimes when you do that, conventions will notice you and they see you. And that's just kind of how it happened for me personally. But it wasn't something I was really reaching to try to do. And then because of that, I slowly tried to, did what they said, where I did a brand, and it's like a full-time thing, and you got to come up with just the tiniest stuff. I mean, you really have to do everything. You got to be a jack of all trades and kind of manage a lot to really stand out. And so many people want to do it now, and a lot of people are doing it now. You kind of have to figure out what's the thing that's going to make me different. What's going to be my particular thing, and you kind of have to stick with that and kind of be true to yourself, though. Don't really try to do what everybody else is doing because you think it works, because then you're just going to get lost. Just really do what you're good at and what comes naturally to you, and I think that's the best way, is just be yourself, just bigger.
Thanks.
What's the main idea of your YouTube channel?
I'll go first.
So
Oh,
go. I thought you were going. For my YouTube channel, it's mainly gaming based, so like Let's Plays, gaming news. But I also am gonna post tutorial videos soon. I just filmed the making of my Charizard cosplay, beginning to end. I'm gonna commentate over it and edit it and post it. So that's what my YouTube channel is. What about you, Karli?
mine's called Geek and Gorgeous. It's a hub for all things sci-fi and geeky. I was saying before, we do cosplay tutorials, fashion segments, makeup, behind the scenes at conventions, at photo shoots, and interviews with a bunch of celebrities. And I interviewed Stanley at Fan Expo a couple years ago, and it was a highlight for me.
Oh, well, I do too many things, I always say, so I'm finally like getting around to try to be better at doing YouTube. So my page is very new, but mostly right now I do a lot of tutorials on how to do stuff, because that's usually what I talk out at the shows, is I do panels and stuff. And then I started doing kind of like little cosplay videos where I'm acting in cosplay, like just short little videos, and that's.
Yeah, unfortunately, I really don't have much of a YouTube, so I'm not inclined to talk about this question, because mine is just me opening like subscribing boxes and just talking about the stuff I get in them. That's really like, I have a very small basic YouTube. I'm trying to get more and do more content on it, but I've been too busy to unfortunately like really sit down and actually do the YouTube yet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to know how you guys got more sponsorships, because thank you. How you guys got more sponsorships, because I started working with like Pinky Paradise, but I wanted to try to like grow a little bit more. So I wanted to know how you guys, when you first started, how you started to get more.
Again, with sponsorships, the company is giving you product for advertisement for them in return. So having, following and what you can offer them. So if you can do YouTube videos to promote their product. You can do giveaways, giveaway videos. You can do contests on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, anything. They just want advertisement, and they want it on as many social media platforms as possible. So having a big background, having a big following is more beneficial for them. Probably the answer.
You pretty much got it all.
She literally just echoed exactly what I think all of us
You
would
guys
say.
can start on that side.
I don't have any sponsorships, so yeah.
Pretty much what Karli said. Having a big following is really helpful, and maybe even making yourself more original than everybody else, because there's so many people now with Instagram growing that are doing so many sponsorships. So making the way that you present your sponsorships original might help.
And even if you don't have a big following yet, companies, they do care about the quality of the video. So if you can provide them with a really great quality, fun video, then they can share it on their social media because they're still getting something out of it. They're getting that video with the promotion and the contest or whatever you're doing. So, putting some time into maybe learning how to edit or, going to film school or whatever you want to do. Again, you really have to decide what you want to do in your brand, but having good content and good quality content is ideal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys. So I have a YouTube channel myself. I've got a bit over 100 something followers and stuff, but as I go on the internet, sometimes you start getting like that creepy subscriber that you start feeling it's like, what kind of things have maybe you guys have done to sort of not necessarily block that subscriber, but sort of be like, guys, can we just, tone it down a little? Have you guys tried anything on that?
I honestly think you just need to ignore them.
Okay.
When you feed trolls, it adds fuel to their fire. Like encouraging positive comments is good. Like responding to only people who write comments that are like things that you like to see.
Okay.
And not responding to things that you don't want to see.
All right. Because it wasn't like, oh, you're ugly or anything, not like that kind of trolling. It was more of like too complimenty that it felt like kind of creepy. That's what I was.
Just don't respond.
So just not
block and delete.
Okay, that's what I did, but just thank you.
No worries. You can't stop it sometimes. So it's not you personally. It just happens.
All right, thank you.
No worries.
Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Just in response to the recent passing of David Bowie, do any of you have any kind of influence or anything like that with regard to him? I mean, he's definitely an influence to, to a lot of us and to different costumes and things like that. Have any of you have an opinion on that?
I mean, I think just in general, he was a big influence on the art world. He definitely changed, not only costumes, but, everything. I love David Bowie, but for me, as, an actual inspiration, it was more of, my theater teacher growing up. I was really into theater, and she was the one who really inspired me. But it kind of trickles down the line because she was really inspired by David Bowie. Unfortunately, I'm a little too young to where he was really, really prominent in my childhood, but I definitely, really respect him as an artist. He definitely made art what it is today. He's one of those influences. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions? Yeah, you can just come up here and ask.
How do you do the clothes together so pretty?
How do we sew them together?
Yeah.
With a sewing machine and thread and a needle. That's how I did mine. I went to school for fashion design, so I learned how to do everything. What did you guys learn? Or trial and error?
YouTube taught me everything. You can learn a lot of things from the internet.
I'm self-taught.
Yeah, I pretty much just learned through YouTube as well. And I had friends That's how I heard about cosplay, because I grew up in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. So we had like 2 anime shows. There was like 3 of us who were into nerdy stuff. So when I moved down here, I actually became friends with cosplayers, and they were the ones who introduced me. And being from like a theater background, I thought it was the coolest thing, and also being nerdy. So that's kind of how I got started with cosplaying.
Azzy and I actually just did a video on my YouTube channel titled 5 Things That We Hate About Cosplay. Everything that we talked about it, obviously the love of cosplay beats the things that we don't like, but maybe you guys can tell us something that you don't like about cosplay. One, like for example, mine was styling wigs. I am really bad at styling wigs. I'm not a hairstylist, so I always butcher them.
I hate maintaining costumes more than anything else. Like, when you make a costume, the next one is going to be your new favorite. So as any cosplayer will say, they always want to continue making new and new costumes. But we have those costumes where you get wear and tear wearing them after cons, and I hate going back and trying to fix all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I don't like. I mean, there's a lot to like about it. So,
What's your favorite part about cosplay?
I really like competing, but I guess mostly like I like meeting people and talking about, how did you do that, or how did you make this, and I like that it's an art form that has no limits. So like every year I like to take time to like learn a new skill, and it's just this vast majority of so many skills you can learn. It could just go on and on. You could do leather and metal and armor and sewing, and I just love that about it, that it can be like a never-ending thing.
Yeah, definitely like having creative freedom. I think out of anything I've ever seen art-wise, cosplay is so unlimited to what you want to do, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, I have to know how to sew in order to cosplay. And honestly, you can do stuff that completely has no sewing involved. There's armor, there's wigs, there's so many outlets. But my favorite part is actually the friends I've made through cosplay. I think some of my closest and lifelong friends I met early on starting out in the cosplay scene. It's definitely one of the best communities to be in, I think.
Yeah, the cosplay community is definitely extremely friendly and very helpful and supporting.
Yeah, I have to say the same thing as you. It's like all the people I meet, it's really nice to meet other people that have the same interests as you, because sometimes off in the real world, people don't understand you. They don't know, like, they think, I don't know, sometimes they think you're weird, and it's nice to like be around people who think you're awesome because they like the same things that you do. So yeah.
I also like seeing the first picture that a photographer sends you from a shoot that you did with your costume, because you put your blood, sweat, and tears into that costume for a very long time, and seeing it come together is really exciting, because I'm sure with you guys, every time you're doing a costume, there is one point when you're like, this is not gonna look good. This is not gonna turn out, and then it does in the end, most of the time. Is there anything else that you guys want to chat about?
What's your guys' favorite material to work with? What are you most comfortable working with?
Tool. Clearly.
Clearly, tool. I'd say I like making armor more than anything. I like drafting. I love drafting, like the pattern.
Me too.
You're like the only other person I met that really likes
I
drafting.
love drafting.
It's my favorite part.
I took math and science in school, so like it just comes easily to me. Oh no, you're
Drafting's
stuck.
the hardest for me.
Help me. Yeah, because I love figuring stuff out. Like, I'm a problem solver like that. So I think taking something that's 2D and trying to make it 3-dimensional has, it's really hard to do. And also just figuring out what material to use for each part. And I think that's like the best and most fun part for me to do.
I'm so happy you said that. I have the exact same answer. I love drafting. I love working with Warbler and with foam. It's just, I don't know. I love making costumes that that I feel like I'm like in a fantasy land, like in the land of Worldcraft or like something. You know what I mean?
I guess I really like doing props, Drafting patterns is sometimes really, really frustrating. I guess that's the part that's my weakness is actually, and it's unfortunate because that's the first step that you need perfect. Because if you don't have that perfect, it's going to go downhill from there. So you really need to So I really have to like constantly work at it to really try to get it right.
Do you guys keep all of your patterns from every costume that you've done?
I have patterns, like very base patterns. Like for armor, for example, like most armors are gonna have a bracer. They're gonna have some sort of chest piece. So a lot of those, I try to keep as many as I can. Yeah.
I redrafted every single time. That's how much I like
Because you
drafting.
love it so much.
I know it sounds like such a waste of time, but oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I try to keep most of mine, but they're somewhere, but they're always different. So I think because maybe I do it wrong the first time, so I'm like, maybe I need to do it again.
Do you have a question?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
If you couldn't tell, I like working with out-of-the-box materials. What is like the most weirdest material you've ever used, and did you like what you came up with?
I don't know if this is the weirdest because I'd have to really think, but one time I found all these, I went to a junkyard and I found all these like different metal pieces and welded them together to make part of this wing from Battle Angel. It was kind of cool. It's my first time like welding stuff, so my welds weren't perfect, but it was different.
So badass. So badass.
I think Warbler for me was a really like exciting thing to work with the first time. When I started using it, I was like, "Oh my god, this is so cool!" And my brain just went crazy with all the like possibilities of what you could do with it. But over time, you get familiar with it, so you get a lot more used to using it.
I think my weirdest one is expanding foam. I just started using that for armor, but it really helps if you have to make some really crazy pieces that you couldn't really start off with just Warbler and foam. But it's definitely very strange, and I had a lot of trial and error trying to make stuff with expanding foam.
I had the worst experience. I made this like huge staff that was hollow on the inside, and I was like, I'm gonna make it more sturdy by filling it with expanding foam. Let me empty this whole can of expanding foam into my staff, and it exploded. Yeah, it was the worst. I was like so upset.
And it looks like mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trial and error with cosplay.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Before I ask my question, I think you should probably film that. It would have been hilarious to see on social media.
Right? I didn't know it was gonna happen.
Well, like next time, that would have been fun.
Document everything you do from now on.
Right?
So my background's really in social media, and I know that you guys you come from different places. Some of you have stronger platform usage, and some of you don't. But at the end of the day, you're all creatives, right? I have a social media account called Pineapple Citizen, and it's an anthropomorphic pineapple. And I'm starting to do cosplay with the pineapple. Like I dress it up like a Jedi and stuff like that, and I take it on to different places in Miami. But I guess my question coming into that is, as a creative person, where do you see yourself in the next year? Do you have goals of that nature? What's the next step, or is it just the next costume?
Well, for me, YouTube is definitely where I'm taking everything. I've been doing it for 4 years, and it's really starting to take off. I am in the process and contracts of signing with a boutique agency who represents YouTubers, and then we'll be filming in studio on a weekly basis, and we'll be doing cosplay talk shows, and more intensive tutorials on makeup, costumes, just pretty much everything. Again, in studio with nice lights and cameras and a crew, so YouTube is definitely where my focus is. Cosplay is definitely a way to promote yourself. It's coming to the shows and broadcasting yourself to everybody and telling them this is what I'm doing. And it's a community where you can talk to people about it and get some ideas and share your ideas and then guide them to your YouTube, because when you're not here, you're at home doing everything. I always say that cosplay is almost like, it's a very lonely job because you're only at cons so much, and then you're at home in your office or your bedroom or whatever, working by yourself or sometimes with friends, but you're making costumes and editing videos for hours alone.
Yeah, I just kind of felt like asking about the brand perspective because you've given a lot of advice about brands. And so if you're speaking about brands, you should have some goals on the long term. So I know you do, but I was considering what your other cosplayers
What do you guys
think about that?
I don't know if you guys know. So for me, I really, really focus on craftsmanship. So I'm constantly improving, and I worked with a variety of materials. And, eventually I'm going to be done with cosplay, and I do have my prop business, but I really want to work on movies, and I want to get into special effects. And that's kind of my long-term goal of where I want to transition to, is I'm kind of learning all these things and teaching myself, because I got a degree in something completely different. So now, I'm just kind of using this as kind of also building a portfolio and also learning different things.
My goal is, long-term goal is to make a strong community, actually, and build an impact in nerd culture. I find that there's a lot of toxicity, especially like in the gaming industry, and I want to change that, and that's kind of like what my name symbolizes, and I want to start doing that with my YouTube channel. So that's my main goal.
I kind of like have two because they're kind of polar opposite almost. Just costuming itself, my dream and what I would always love to do is to be a costumer or an assistant for like a celebrity, like a singer when they go on tour because they wear and get to do all like the extravagant costumes. I think that would be super awesome. But if not, I would love to fall into like more marketing because I started my brand from absolutely nothing and worked up from there. And I feel like I learned so much trial and error through that. So if I could work for a very cool company and focus on marketing like in the future, I think that would be awesome as well.
That's great to hear. Thank you. Yeah, I'm actually doing the same thing. A lot of creative projects end up being portfolios for long-term goals, and I thought that was important mentioning in case anybody else here had that aim. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
I wanted to know, what are some tips that you can give other cosplayers that you've learned through trial and error?
We'll start on that side, because I feel like I keep starting.
If you're working with EVA foam, always sharpen your knife constantly. There's a tip there. I don't know if you had like a specific like wigs,
just in general,
armor,
yeah.
sewing. I mean, I could go on forever. You guys.
Always stay safe. Like, always wear goggles. I've had like instances where I've gotten like fumes of glue like in my eyes, and it's not like, you definitely always want to have like respirator, goggles, gloves. Yeah.
I always just say don't be afraid to make mistakes. I feel like because cosplayers are artists and we're all perfectionists as artists and you want to make it the best and try your best, and sometimes that just stresses you beyond no belief. And I feel like people sometimes are worried about it being too perfect, that when they mess up on something, it can be your best friend. I've messed up on making things and it ended up working out for me in the long run better, and I actually like the technique I used more. So never be afraid to make mistakes no matter what part of a costume you're doing.
Mine would be budgeting. Cosplay is very expensive, so you can try and budget your costumes, or your new costumes. So I have a bin where I just keep all old materials, scraps of Warbler, everything. So before I start a new costume, I like to draw it out first and then go into this bin and pick out the pieces that I can reuse into the new costume. And then I go shopping and buy what I need. Yeah. And also my other tip is Warbler is hot when you heat it, so be careful.
Thank you.
Then again, anything else you guys want to talk about?
Any other questions, guys?
What's your favorite convention
you can step up.
experience? Your favorite convention experience?
Favorite convention experience? Again, Stan Lee was pretty epic.
Strangest convention experience?
Oh my goodness.
Oh. I think my favorite is actually at Last Animate in Miami. I got to like hang out with Ian Sinclair the whole time, and he is the funniest guy in the world. If you don't know, it's like the voice actor of Space Dandy and stuff, and if you never talk to him, he's like the best human. And I got to hang out with him for that weekend, and he was so cool.
My favorite experience was I like really made this like one kid's day one day, and he was like so happy, and I don't know, I just really remember it. I also like winning my first competition was like a huge thing. I went through like so much to like get into the competition. Like I didn't register in time, so I like snuck myself into the competition, and I like beat all the odds, and then I like won, and I just like it felt so good. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hello.
What I wanted to know was, from doing cosplay for so long, what has been your biggest accomplishments?
My biggest accomplishment was becoming less shy, actually. I was super shy when I first started cosplaying and going to cons. If I had to come up here right now, I would just cry and go home. Like, you know what I mean? I was so shy, and I feel like that was like the biggest accomplishment. I feel like cosplay really brought me out of my shell because I met really like-minded people who liked the same things and didn't think I was weird, because I think Sailor Moon's cooler than anything on this planet. So I think that was my biggest accomplishment, like overall last few years, is really like growing out of my shell.
You definitely. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say you get more confident with things, even with cosplay. When I got into the whole cosplay world was through my YouTube channel. So I was going to conventions and just interviewing people, and just running around getting all the footage I could, and going back and watching those episodes. Now, compared to new episodes, I am so awkward, and it's embarrassing. But they're on my channel still, and you can definitely you just grow and you learn from that. You get more comfortable doing it for sure.
I feel like every time I push like my boundaries, things like I was like, oh, I could never make LEDs, or I could never make a cosplay. Like even my first time, I like didn't think it was possible. Every time I feel like that's like an accomplishment in itself, because I'm pushing myself. Yeah.
I mean, kind of what they said with being shy, and then also with constantly getting better with each costume. It's kind of an accomplishment when you work with a new material and you're successful at it. It's just kind of the more you put in is the more you're going to get back. So.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
What is your least favorite part about coming to conventions?
Traveling with costumes, especially large costumes. If you have to fly in a plane, be prepared for TSA to hunt you down, because you bring some weird stuff.
We have so many stories about being stopped by security.
Yes. So many stories. Traveling cosplay is the absolute hardest thing, and especially you can't even bring regular clothes sometimes, because your cosplay sometimes. I had my Charizard cosplay took my whole bag
to dinner.
I guess packing and unpacking, and then you have all your booth stuff, and then you have all your costumes, and it's just so much stuff. And then especially if when you're traveling or something and something breaks, but usually I have a kit to fix it, but it can be really stressful, if something happened in your luggage or something and something broke. It's
yeah,
or if you forget something. I guess that's the biggest thing. You have everything, and then you don't have your wig or something, and then you can't wear that costume.
That's a good leeway into some advice. I always have a carry-on with me with all my prints and business cards and magnets and whatever, but I always carry an extra costume with me, because if your luggage gets lost or doesn't show up in time, you don't have a costume. So I always do try to carry something with me. Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Hello.
What is each of your favorite fandoms?
Video games, 100%.
But what specific?
Legend of Zelda is my biggest. I cry for that game. It actually makes me cry. It makes me emotional.
Mine's Doctor Who and Star Wars. I actually was doing an interview recently, and they asked me if I could combine two fandoms together, what would it be and whatever, and
I would never combine fandoms, by the way.
and which characters you would take. And I can't write, so if anybody's a writer out there, take this idea and make it something. But I said if someone took R2 and made it the 10th Doctor's new companion, I just think they would banter back and forth, and it would be amazing.
I mean, my favorite is definitely video games, but also anything magical girl, like Madoka Magica, like is probably my favorite. I see you, Madoka. Yes, I actually have a tattoo of the witch's kiss from Madoka Magica. That's like how much I love it.
She's like freaking out.
I know. It's okay. We'll hug after because you're perfect.
This is what cosplay is all about. People going crazy together.
I definitely don't have like a single favorite because it's like way too hard to decide. But like obviously Resident Evil, Game of Thrones is another big one I like, and yeah, a bunch of others. But I definitely don't have a favorite.
Thank you. You're all awesome.
Thank you.
too. Yeah.
That's a good question. What is a fandom that you aren't in, but you are very curious and you want to get into it, but we just don't have time?
Doctor Who. I'm sorry. Like I've watched it. I just haven't really gotten into it. I'm not sure. Don't hate me, guys. I know Billy Piper's here, so there's a lot of Whoians out here. I think it's cool.
Give it another chance.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I just never really got that into it. I don't know. That's just me.
You keep stealing all my answers.
I'm sorry.
That's the one thing I haven't had a chance to watch.
I'm the same person, I guess.
I-
I'm my Canadian twin.
Wee.
I guess I haven't watched Supernatural yet. That's something I want to start watching.
Supernatural. I've watched some of Supernatural, but definitely Game of Thrones. I haven't gotten into it yet.
Khaleesi is my like girlfriend.
I've
sure.
been like trying to finish all these other things and keep up on comic books and everything. So Game of Thrones is definitely up there. And anime. Azzy just gave me a whole bunch of anime to start with. So
Yes.
Death Note. Anyone? Yes, Death Note.
I'm so glad you're watching it.
I know, it's so good. I watched like 7 episodes in one day. Is there any other questions? Before we, yeah, we're probably only enough 5 minutes.
We have
anyway,
room for like one more question if anybody has one.
No? Okay, so then let's just go down the line where everybody can find you before we leave.
I'm upstairs if you go up the escalators and just go to the right.
Well, just online because the
oh,
show's
online.
done.
I thought you meant here. I was like, well, I'm upstairs, so yeah. Pretty much all my social media is Kannon Cosplay. Cosplay is spelled with a K, and I'm on pretty much every platform. So
I'm on every platform too: YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook. It's at Azzyland, Azzy Land.
And I'm on every platform as well, just Alexia Jean Gray. Gray with an E, not an A. 'Cause people like put an A in Gray all the time. I always thought it was with an E.
And my YouTube show and website is Geek and Gorgeous. It's like freaking gorgeous, not geek and gorgeous. So geekandgorgeous.com. And then every other platform is my name, Karli Woods, and it's with a K and an I. Karli. Because who spells it like that? So that's it. Thank you so much. This has been great. You guys have been awesome. We've had great questions. I hope everybody enjoyed their convention this weekend. Did everyone have fun? Yes. Woo! That
Thank you,
wasn't
guys.
even fun. Did you guys have fun? Yes. It was a great con. Thanks for coming out. Enjoy the rest of your night and the nice weather because it's snowing in Canada.
Also, as well, the masquerade should be starting about 15 minutes after us, so stick around for that awesome skit competition.
Yes.
So come watch it. Thank you, guys.
Bye. Thank you, guys.